The gunshot echoed through the alley, followed by a woman's scream. Inside Costello's, the city's most exclusive restaurant, Victor Romano didn't even flinch. He'd heard worse. Done worse. The 50-year-old mafia boss continued cutting his steak with surgical precision, his cold grey eyes fixed on the man across from him. "The shipment arrives Thursday," Victor said, his voice like gravel. 20 million. Cash. No mistakes this time, Marco. His lieutenant nodded nervously, sweat beading on his forehead despite the air conditioning. Everyone feared Victor Romano. In 15 years, he'd built an empire on that fear. He controlled half the city's underground operations, and the other half knew better than to challenge him. Then the doors burst open. A little girl stumbled through, her pink dress torn and muddy, her face streaked with tears. She couldn't have been more than 7 years old. Victor's 4 bodyguards immediately moved to intercept her, but she was fast, desperate. She dodged the first guard and slipped under the second's reaching arms. "Please!" she screamed, her voice raw with terror. "Someone help! They're hurting my mom!" The restaurant fell silent. 50 of the city's most powerful people stopped eating, stopped talking, stopped breathing. No one interrupted Victor Romano, ever. The head of security, a mountain of a man named Sal, grabbed the girl by her arm. "I'm sorry, boss, I'll remove her immediately. Wait." Victor's single word stopped everyone cold. He studied the child. Her knees were scraped and bleeding. Her small hands trembled. But her eyes, those brown eyes, burned with a desperation he recognized. It was the look of someone who'd lost everything and had nothing left to lose. "Let her speak," Victor said quietly. Sal released her, confusion flickering across his scarred face. The girl stumbled forward, nearly falling. She caught herself on Victor's table, looking up at him with those impossibly wide eyes. "Please, mister," she sobbed. "You look important. You can help, right? There are bad men hurting my mom in the alley. They're hitting her and she's bleeding and I don't know what to do, and please, please help her." The words tumbled out in a rush, punctuated by hiccuping sobs. Victor felt something shift in his chest, something he'd buried 5 years ago when they lowered his daughter's coffin into the ground. Isabella had been 8 when the drunk driver took her. This girl was about the same age. "Boss, we have the meeting with the Russians in 20 minutes, Marco whispered urgently. "This is clearly some kind of setup, or show me." Victor stood abruptly, his 6-foot frame towering over the child. "Take me to your mother. Now." The girl's face flooded with relief. Thank you, this way, hurry." She grabbed his hand, actually grabbed his hand, and pulled. Victor Romano, the man who'd ordered 17 executions, who'd broken bones and crushed spirits, who made grown men weep, allowed a 7-year-old girl to drag him toward the back exit. His men fell in behind him, hands moving to concealed weapons. They emerged into the alley behind the restaurant, and Victor's jaw tightened. 3 men surrounded a woman on the ground. She was curled in a protective ball, arms wrapped around a leather briefcase, blood trickling from her split lip. The men wore expensive suits, and Victor recognized the tattoo on the lead thug's neck immediately. A coiled snake, Kozlov's mark. "Please," the woman gasped. "I don't have the money. Just give me more time." The largest of the 3 men, a brute with a shaved head and cold eyes, kicked her in the ribs. She cried out and the little girl screamed. "Mama!" The men spun around and their faces went white when they saw who stood in the shadows. "Gentlemen," Victor said, his voice deadly calm. "You're on my territory." The bald man, Dmitri, Victor remembered, straightened up, trying to look confident. "Mr. Romano, this is Kozlov business. The woman owes us 50,000. We're just collecting what's owed." "Is that so?" Victor stepped into the dim light, and his 4 bodyguards fanned out behind him. "And Mr. Kozlov authorized you to collect debts in my neighborhood, in the alley behind my restaurant." "We didn't mean any disrespect," Dmitri said quickly. "We were just..." "Just what? Beating a defenseless woman in front of her child?" Victor's voice dropped even lower, which somehow made it more terrifying. "Let me explain something to you, Dmitri. Everything in this neighborhood, every street, every alley, every shadow, belongs to me, which means this woman is under my protection. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk away, right now, And you're going to tell Kozlov that if he wants to collect debts in my territory, he asks permission first. Understood? Dmitri's hand moved toward his jacket, and suddenly 4 guns were pointed at his head. He froze. I wouldn't, Victor said softly. You're outgunned, outmatched, and out of luck. Leave, while you still can. The 3 men looked at each other, then at the woman, then back at Victor. Dmitri's jaw clenched, but he nodded. Kozlov won't forget this. I'm counting on it, Victor replied. Now get out of my sight. They left, but not before Dmitri shot Victor a look that promised future violence. Victor didn't care. He'd been threatened by better men than Dmitri, and they were all dead now. The little girl ran to her mother, throwing her arms around her neck. Mama, are you okay? The woman, mid-30s, dark hair, intelligent eyes despite the fear, tried to sit up and winced. I'm okay, baby. I'm okay. Her gaze lifted to Victor, suspicious and grateful in equal measure. Thank you. I don't know why you helped us, but thank you. Sal, get my car, Victor ordered. Marco, call Dr. Chen. Tell him I need him at the West Side safe house in 30 minutes. He looked down at the woman. Can you walk? I think so. She struggled to her feet, still clutching the briefcase. Look, I appreciate the help, but we'll be fine. We'll just... No. Victor's tone left no room for argument. Kozlov's men will be back, probably with reinforcements. You're coming with me. You'll be safe, you'll be treated, and then we'll talk about why the Kozlov organization thinks you owe them $50,000. The woman's eyes widened with fear. I can't. We have to leave the city. We have to... Mama, I trust him, the little girl said suddenly, looking up at Victor with those big brown eyes. He saved you. He's a good man. Victor almost laughed. A good man. If only she knew. But something in the child's absolute certainty made his chest tighten again. What's your name? He asked the girl. Sophia, she said, smiling through her tears. And this is my mama, Elena. Well, Sophia, your mother is hurt. She needs a doctor. Will you let me help? Sophia looked at her mother, then nodded firmly. Yes, Mama, please. You're bleeding. Elena's resistance crumbled. She was injured, scared, and clearly out of options. Okay, she whispered. Okay. The safe house was a penthouse apartment in a building Victor owned under a shell corporation. It was clean, modern, and secure. 3 floors up with only 1 entrance, monitored by cameras and protected by his best men. Dr. Chen arrived within 20 minutes, a small Chinese man in his 60s who'd been patching up Victor's people for 2 decades. He examined Elena in one of the bedrooms while Sophia waited outside, holding Victor's hand. She hadn't let go since they got in the car. Is your mama going to be okay? Sophia asked, her voice small and scared. Dr. Chen is the best, Victor assured her. She'll be fine. Bruised ribs, maybe a mild concussion, but nothing serious. Thank you for helping us, Mr. Victor, you can call me Victor. Thank you, Victor. Sophia squeezed his hand. Those men were really scary. I thought they were going to kill Mama. Why did they want to hurt her? Sophia's face crumpled. I don't know. Mama said she made some bad people angry at her old job. We've been moving a lot. Different cities, different names. I miss my friends. Tears welled up again. I miss my dad too. He died last year. A bad man shot him. Victor felt like he'd been punched in the gut. I'm sorry, Sophia. I lost my daughter 5 years ago, Isabella. She was about your age. What happened to her? Car accident. A man who'd been drinking hit her car. That's so sad. Sophia leaned against him, this tiny stranger seeking comfort. Do you miss her? Every day. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Sophia noticed a photo on the side table, Isabella laughing, her blonde hair catching the sunlight. Is that her? She's really pretty. She was. She had your courage, I think. She was never afraid of anything. I'm afraid of lots of things, Sophia admitted. But when those men were hurting Mama, I wasn't scared. I just knew I had to find help. And then I saw you through the restaurant window, and you looked strong and important, so I thought maybe you could save her. You were very brave, Victor said quietly. braver than most of my men. The bedroom door opened and Dr. Chen emerged. 2 cracked ribs, various contusions, and a mild concussion. She needs rest and pain medication. I've given her something for the pain. She'll sleep for a few hours. Thank you, Dr. Chen. After the doctor left, Victor checked on Elena. She was propped up on pillows, her face pale but her eyes alert and suspicious. "Where's Sophia?" she asked immediately. "In the living room, watching cartoons. She's safe." Elena relaxed slightly. "Look, Mr. Romano, you know who I am. Everyone knows who you are, which is why I need to know. Why did you help us? What do you want?" "The briefcase," Victor said bluntly. "You held on to it even while they were beating you. That's not just money in there, so I'll ask you once, and I expect the truth. Who are you, Elena? And why does Kozlov want you dead?" Elena's face went even paler. "Dead? They said it was about money." "Kozlov doesn't send 3 enforcers to collect $50,000 from a woman with a child. That was an execution disguised as a collection. So talk." For a long moment, Elena said nothing. Then her shoulders sagged. "My name is Elena Torres. I'm a forensic accountant. I was working for the FBI, examining financial records for a money laundering case against the Kozlov organization. I found everything: shell corporations, offshore accounts, connections to human trafficking and drug smuggling, everything they've done for the past 10 years. Victor's eyes narrowed. "You're a federal witness." I was supposed to be in protective custody with a new identity. But someone leaked my location, my handler, Agent Morrison. He disappeared 3 days ago. I think Kozlov got to him. I grabbed what evidence I could and ran. I've been hiding in this city for 2 days, trying to figure out what to do. She looked at Victor with desperate honesty. "That briefcase contains copies of everything. Bank records, transaction histories, communications, enough to put Kozlov away for life." Victor walked to the window, his mind racing. Kozlov had been a thorn in his side for years, constantly encroaching on his territory, undercutting his operations. With this evidence, he could eliminate his biggest competitor without firing a single shot. "You want the documents," Elena said flatly. "That's why you helped us." "Partially. I won't trade one criminal for another. If I give you those documents, you'll use them for leverage, not justice. You're not in a position to negotiate. Then kill me. But you'll have to do it in front of my daughter because I'm not leaving her." Elena's voice was steel. "I watched my husband die trying to protect us. I'm not afraid of you, Mr. Romano." Victor turned back to her, something like respect in his cold eyes. "Your husband. Sophia said he was shot." "He was a journalist. He was investigating corrupt city officials with ties to organized crime. They made it look like a robbery, but I know the truth. They murdered him because he wouldn't stop asking questions." Her voice cracked. "Sophia watched it happen. She still has nightmares." Victor thought of Isabella, of the driver who'd taken her from him, of all the pain he'd caused in his own pursuit of power. "I'm not going to kill you, Elena, and I'm not going to use those documents for leverage." "Then what do you want?" "I want Kozlov destroyed, legitimately. Prison, trials, justice, whatever you want to call it. You give me copies of those documents, I'll make sure they reach the right people at the FBI, people Kozlov doesn't own. In exchange, I'll protect you and Sophia until Kozlov is behind bars." "Why would you do that?" Victor looked toward the living room, where he could hear Sophia laughing at something on TV, that pure, innocent sound. "Because your daughter reminds me that I used to be human, because maybe it's time I remembered what that means." Elena studied him for a long moment. "You're serious." "I'm many things, Mrs. Torres, but I'm not a liar. If I do this, Kozlov will come after you too. He's already my enemy. This just makes it official." Elena closed her eyes, exhausted and in pain and out of options. Okay. But if you betray us..." "I won't." The next 3 days passed in tense calm. Elena recovered slowly, her ribs healing, the bruises fading from purple to yellow-green. Sophia adapted to the safe house with remarkable resilience, drawing pictures and watching movies and asking Victor 1,000 questions. "Do you have a wife?" she asked one afternoon while they played cards. "I did. She left after Isabella died, said she couldn't look at me anymore." "That's sad. My mama said people hurt in different ways. Maybe your wife was just hurting too much." "Maybe," Victor conceded. "Go fish." Sophia drew a card, grinning. "Do you have any friends?" "I have associates, people who work for me." "That's not the same thing. Friends are people who like you even when you're grumpy or sad or make mistakes." "Then no. I don't have friends." "You could," Sophia said seriously. "You're actually nice when you're not trying to be scary. I can tell." Victor almost smiled. "You're very observant. Mama says I notice things other people miss. She says it's a gift." Sophia laid down her cards triumphantly. "I win." "You're also a card shark." "What's a card shark?" "Someone who's too good at cards. Come on, let's get dinner ready." They were in the kitchen when Victor's phone buzzed. Marco. He stepped away to take the call. "Boss, we have a problem. Kozlov knows where you're keeping them." Victor's blood ran cold. "How?" "One of the safe house guards. He sold you out. Kozlov's men are already mobilizing. You've got maybe 30 minutes before they hit the building. Get everyone you can to the west side location, now." "Boss, we can't hold off his whole organization. He's bringing 50 men, maybe more. This is war." "Then we go to war." Victor ended the call and returned to find Elena and Sophia setting the table. They looked so normal, so domestic, like a family. The realization hit him hard. He'd gotten attached. To both of them. "Elena, we need to leave. Now." Her face went white. "They found us." "How many men do you have here?" she asked, already moving toward the bedroom to grab their things. 4 outside, 2 in the lobby. Not enough. I've called for reinforcements, but—" The lights went out. In the sudden darkness, Sophia whimpered. Victor grabbed her hand. "Elena, there's a panic room. Follow me." They moved through the dark apartment by feel, Victor leading them to what appeared to be a blank wall in the master bedroom. He pressed a hidden button, and a section of wall slid back, revealing a steel door. "Inside. It's reinforced, ventilated, and has its own power supply. You'll be safe." "What about you?" Sophia asked, her small hand gripping his tightly. "I need to hold them off until help arrives." "No!" Sophia's voice rose in panic. "You'll die! You'll die like Daddy did!" Gunfire erupted somewhere below them, shouting, the sound of men fighting and dying. Victor knelt down, taking Sophia's face gently in his hands. "Listen to me. I've done a lot of bad things in my life, Sophia. Hurt a lot of people, but saving you and your mother, that's the first good thing I've done in years. So I'm going to make sure you stay safe, okay? I promise." "You can't promise that," she sobbed. "Bad things happen to good people all the time. You said so yourself." "Then I'll have to make sure I'm a bad enough person that bad things don't touch me." He tried to smile. "Trust me, sweetheart. I'm very good at being bad." He practically pushed them into the panic room, Elena clutching Sophia and the briefcase. "There's a phone in there. If I don't come back in 2 hours, call 911. Tell them everything." "Victor," Elena started. "Take care of her," he said. Then he sealed the door. The apartment was a war zone. Victor moved through it with deadly efficiency, his gun drawn, his mind clear. He'd been in worse situations. Probably. Maybe. He reached the living room just as the front door exploded inward. 3 of Kozlov's men poured through, and Victor dropped the first one with a headshot. The second caught a bullet in the chest. The third ducked behind the couch, returning fire. Victor's men were fighting in the hallway, trying to hold the stairwell, but there were too many. Even he could hear it. The thunder of boots, the shouts of dozens of men. Marco was right. This was war, and Victor was losing. A bullet caught him in the shoulder, spinning him around. He gritted his teeth against the pain and kept firing. Another attacker went down, then another. But for everyone he dropped, 2 more appeared. In the panic room, Sophia heard everything. The gunshots, the shouting, the crashes. She pressed her hands over her ears, crying while Elena held her tight. "He's going to die," Sophia sobbed. "He's going to die trying to save us, just like Daddy. Elena's jaw tightened. She looked at the briefcase, then at the phone on the wall. Then she made a decision. She grabbed the phone and dialed. 911, what's your emergency? My name is Elena Torres. I'm a federal witness in protective custody. My location was compromised and I'm under attack by members of the Kozlov crime organization. Send police to the West Side Towers, penthouse level. Also, she took a breath, I have evidence of money laundering, human trafficking and murder. I want to turn myself in. I want to testify. Send the FBI. Send everyone. Outside the panic room, Victor was running out of ammunition and options. He'd taken 3 bullets now, shoulder, thigh and a graze across his ribs. Blood soaked his shirt. His vision was starting to blur. Then he heard the sirens, lots of sirens. Kozlov's men heard them too. They hesitated, looking at each other. That moment of hesitation saved Victor's life. Marco and 6 other men burst through the stairwell, guns blazing, and suddenly Kozlov's people were caught between Victor's reinforcements and the approaching police. They ran. Victor slumped against the wall, breathing hard. Marco ran to him. Boss. Jesus, you're hit. We need to get you out of here. The cops are coming. No. Victor shook his head. Let them come. It's over, Marco. It's finally over. What are you talking about, boss? We need to go. We need to... The woman in the panic room. She's a federal witness. She has evidence against Kozlov. Enough to put him away for life. She's also going to testify against me. Marco's face went pale. Boss, no. We can still... Stand down, Marco. That's an order. Tell the others to surrender when the police arrive. No more bloodshed today. You're really doing this? For some woman and her kid? Victor thought of Sophia's hand in his, of her absolute faith that he was a good man, of the way Elena had trusted him with her daughter's life, of Isabella, who he'd failed to protect. Yeah, he said quietly. I'm really doing this. The police arrived 3 minutes later, flooding the building. FBI agents in body armor, SWAT teams, uniforms everywhere. Victor raised his hands, wincing at the pain in his shoulder. Victor Romano, an FBI agent said, almost reverently, Never thought I'd see this day. You're under arrest. I know, but first, you need to get 2 people out of the panic room, a woman and a little girl. They're witnesses. They need protection. The agents exchanged glances, then moved to the panic room door. It took 2 of them to figure out how to open it from the outside, but finally it swung open. Sophia burst out first, her eyes wild and terrified. Victor! Victor, are you... She saw the blood, saw the handcuffs. No, you can't arrest him. He saved us. He's a hero. Eleanor emerged behind her, holding her daughter back. Sophia, baby, it's okay. It's not okay. They're going to put him in jail and he didn't do anything wrong. An FBI agent, older with grey hair and kind eyes, knelt down. Sweetheart, I'm Agent Davidson. You're safe now. We're here to help. Then help him, Sophia pointed at Victor. He protected us from the bad men. He got shot protecting us. Victor met her eyes across the room. Sophia, it's okay. I've done bad things. I have to pay for them. But you're good now. You changed. That should count for something. It does count, Victor said gently. It counts for everything. Because of you. Eleanor pulled her daughter close, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, she mouthed to Victor. He nodded once, then let the agents lead him away. The trial lasted 6 months. Eleanor's evidence, combined with Victor's testimony, destroyed the Kozlov organization. 17 high-ranking members went to prison, including Kozlov himself, life without parole. Victor faced his own reckoning, money laundering, racketeering, extortion. The list went on. But his cooperation, his testimony, and his protection of a federal witness earned him consideration. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, looked down at him from the bench. Mr. Romano, you've committed serious crimes over 15 years. You've hurt people, destroyed lives, and corrupted this city's institutions. The prosecution recommends 25 years. Victor stood still, accepting it. He deserved worse. However, the judge continued, I've also heard testimony about your actions in protecting Mrs. Torres and her daughter. about how you turned on your own organization to ensure their safety, about how you surrendered yourself to authorities despite having the means to flee." She paused. "One of the letters submitted on your behalf came from a 7-year-old girl named Sophia. Would you like to know what she wrote?" Victor's throat tightened. "Yes, Your Honor." She wrote, and I quote, "Victor is the bravest person I know. He got shot protecting me and my mom from bad guys. He was sad because his daughter died, but he helped us anyway. He told me that doing one good thing doesn't erase all the bad things, but maybe it's a start. I think he should get a chance to do more good things. Everyone deserves a second chance, even grown-ups who make mistakes." End quote. The courtroom was silent. The judge removed her glasses, looking at Victor with something that might have been compassion. "Out of the mouths of babes," she said softly. "Mr. Romano, I'm sentencing you to 15 years in federal prison, with possibility of parole in 7 years for good behavior. I hope you use that time wisely." Court adjourned. 7 years later, Victor Romano walked out of federal prison. He was 57 now, grayer, thinner, but his eyes were different, clearer, more human. Eleanor and Sophia were waiting outside. Sophia was 14 now, tall and beautiful, but she still had those same brown eyes. The moment she saw him, she ran forward and hugged him tight. "You kept your promise," she said. "You survived." "I had something to survive for," Victor replied, his voice rough with emotion. Eleanor approached more slowly. She'd testified at his parole hearing, speaking about how he'd saved their lives, how he'd changed, how he'd spent 7 years in prison tutoring other inmates, teaching them to read, helping them prepare for life after release. "We wanted to be here," Elena said, "to say thank you, and to tell you that we're doing okay. I'm working for the FBI now, still going after bad guys. Sophia's top of her class. She wants to be a lawyer." "A defense attorney," Sophia added. "Someone has to help people who make mistakes but want to do better." Victor smiled, really smiled, for the first time in years. "She gets that from you." "Actually," Sophia said, "I think I got it from both of you. You taught me that people can change, that it's never too late to be brave." They walked together into the sunlight, and Victor realized something. He'd spent 15 years building an empire of fear and violence, but these 7 years in prison, thinking about a little girl's faith in him, had rebuilt something more important: his humanity. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. This story reminds us that redemption is possible, that courage can come from the smallest people, and that sometimes the most broken among us just need someone to believe we can be better. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories. Drop a comment below telling us what you thought of Victor's journey. Did he deserve a second chance? What would you have done in his situation? Until next time, remember, it's never too late to change your story.